Some of you may recognise this rather famous noodle snack. Here in the UK, it is a very popular dish. Can you call it dish really? It's a pot noodle. It is what it says on the pot. It's instant noodles that you just make up with boiling water. However, of course, this being me, it's not noodles, it's cake in the form of pot noodle. As I say, it's a very popular, handy, easy snack, and a lot of people love it, especially Deborah, whose 50th birthday it is tomorrow, and at the request of her husband wanted this novelty cake in the design of her favourite flavoured pot noodle, beef and tomato. So this one is a 6-inch chocolate cake. This one's actually a gluten-free sponge. Now, I don't usually work with gluten-free sponge because I'm no expert, and I find it a lot crumblier, drier. It's very hard to work with. So especially with the kind of cakes that I design, which are sculpted usually and stacked and, you know, on the taller side, I like to work with just a regular sponge, nothing gluten-free or anything like that. There are a lot of specialist bakers out there who have expertise in that field, but me, no. But seeing as that, I mean, this one was for a neighbour, so I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. So bearing that in mind, the shape of the pot itself is a little bit off, because, as I say, the sponge is very fiddly to work with, and I didn't have much fun stacking it. If you bear with me, I do actually have, just give you a quick tour of my kitchen. I do actually have the actual pot noodle that I worked from. I went and bought that from the shop. Another good tip, if you're doing anything lifelike, get yourself, if it's not too expensive, obviously, I mean, if you're doing a lifelike Ferrari cake, don't go and buy one just so you can work from it. But little things like this, I went and bought this from the shop, so that I had a reference. Picture references work just as well, but this was only cheap. And I couldn't quite pick out certain bits from a picture, so I just nipped to the shop and got one of these. Plus, I like them, so I may just have that for my tea. So yeah, that's the pot itself. I've used edible images. I printed off the logo and a similar sort of the what's that? You know, the energy and the calories and the fat and the saturates. I found a blank one. I couldn't find one that actually had the pot noodle ingredients on, but a blank one, just a bit of representation. As you can see, there's a lot more detail on this, but it's quite a rushed cake, and it was just for a neighbour, so it's on the cheaper side. So I just got the sort of main bits, little barcode on the side, like so. As I say, I just got the main details in on this one. And then on top we have the noodles themselves, and in a beef and tomato pot noodle you get peas and little bits of pepper. So I've used an extruder to create these ribbons of pasta. They took an age, but the desired effect has been achieved, and I'm really pleased with it. To say it's just sort of a knocked up cake, this one. And then I put a few fondant peas on the base board around, just to sort of bring it all together. So yeah, that's my version of a pot noodle cake. And as I say, there's the real thing, so it's kind of there. There's not as much detail on the cake itself as there is on the real thing, but it'll do me. Now I'm off to have this for my tea. Hee hee.